reference to the popular misconception that Kennedy mistakenly said, "I am a jelly donut," instead of "I am a Berliner."
And now for the latest financial information on European and American markets. Stay with us on Pearl 4 World Market Update.
Kitchen secrets revealed. A trusty cleaver and nimble fingers. Then stir in a lifetime of passion. And wait for the magic to happen. Thursday. Delia School of Canada presents A Bite of China at 8 on Pearl.
Good evening. World equity markets, the US dollar, bond prices, and commodities slumped today in a full-scale retreat by investors who fear that major central banks are cooling in their commitment to the money pumping that has boosted markets. The decline was triggered by a Bank of Japan decision not to take any fresh measures to tackle rising government bond yields. Meanwhile, American employers advertised fewer jobs in April, but overall hiring rose and the number of people quitting their jobs increased. Now to the charts. The Dow Jones is trading down 6 points and the S&P 500 is down 4 points. US 30-year Treasury bond is priced at $90. Spot gold is $1,376 an ounce. US dollar cross rates: the yen 96.97, the euro 1.32, and the sterling 1.55. A look at the European markets now. The UK FTSE is down 60 points, the French CAC is down 53 points, and the German DAX is down 85 points. Stay with us, the news roundup is next.
You're watching TVB Pearl. Up shortly, we hand you over to our news department for a summary of all the day's top stories in the News Roundup.
To a night the four of us will never forget.
After a night in Vegas, certain questions invariably come up. For example, why is this man missing a tooth? Whose baby is this? Who stole a police car? And the most popular, is that a tiger in the bathroom?
Let's go to Vegas. We'll all get drunk.
Mike Tyson.
This week on Friday Attractions, Oriental Watch Company presents The Hangover on Pearl.
我想生意租主，我陳唐樓想加我冇入息證明喎，點算啊？
有香港信貸 ，no trouble，
冇煩惱，
任何物業都借足8成，無需入息證明，5分鐘電話極速批核，樓按簡單冇煩惱，香港信貸樓按 no trouble。
Why are we so good at Japanese?
Because we are students of Nikkei.
Nikkei's Japanese summer course is taught by professional teachers, combined with exciting cultural activities. If you want to have a very Japanese summer, hurry and sign up for Nikkei's Japanese summer course.
My lunch date is here. Call me if you find anything interesting.
How's your lunch?
Oh, I love the special.
I'll bet.
An opportunity
NYPD, show me your hands.
so big,
Whoa.
she better grab it
He's different. It's like he's pulling away.
He's tired of waiting.
before it's lost forever.
You think I should tell him how I feel?
Maybe you should wait a bit.
Wednesday, Castle at 8:30 on Pearl. The time now is 11:44. The time check was brought to you by Chopin.
Civil service groups want arbitration in pay dispute. The Shenzhou 10 spacecraft blasts off. And whistleblower Edward Snowden's fate hangs in the balance. Good evening. The Executive Council has approved the proposed pay rise for civil servants despite opposition by civil service unions. Two staff associations now want to seek arbitration. João da Silva reports.
The Executive Council this morning approved a 2.55% pay increase for senior civil servants and a 3.92% hike for middle and junior ranks for the current fiscal year. The increases are in accordance with findings of a pay trend survey. The approval came despite a breakdown in the system through which the government and unions have negotiated pay for years. Practically all staff representatives of the disciplinary services have quit the pay trend survey committee. Acting Chief Executive Carrie Lam this morning refuted suggestions by the unions that factors other than the pay trend survey were not taken into account when the government considered pay adjustments. She urged civil service unions that had quit the pay trend survey committee to return to the negotiating table. The Disciplined Services Consultative Council is disappointed that the Executive Council approved the proposed pay rise. The Senior Government Officers Association wants the Chief Executive to set up a committee to arbitrate over the pay disputes.
We understand the background and intention of other civil service councils. We respect what they are doing. However, if the government would commit that they will review the pay trend survey system as well as the pay adjustment system, then our association will stay in the established mechanism to reflect our views so as to improve and enhance the system.
The Senior Civil Service Council agreed that seeking arbitration is the best way forward. Li Choi-yin of the Chinese Civil Servants Association said they are more concerned about the breakdown in the negotiation mechanism rather than the percentage increase. Are we to bargain our pay as if we were shopping at a market in the future, she asked. They have not ruled out seeking a judicial review. The breaking up of the Pay Trend Survey Committee marks an end to a mechanism that the government and its staff have used to negotiate pay for many years. Under a 1968 agreement, senior civil servants are entitled to seek arbitration if there is no agreement between the government and civil servants over pay. João da Silva, TVB News.
China's fifth manned space mission took off successfully from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center this afternoon. Shenzhou 10 will remain in space for 15 days, during which it will attempt to dock twice with the Tiangong 1 space lab. Jenny Lam reports.
A send-off from President Xi Jinping for the three astronauts of Shenzhou 10 this afternoon before they embarked on the next phase of China's space program. You carry a space dream of the Chinese nation, Xi told them. With Ne Haishang in command, this will be Zhang Xiaoguang's first time in space. They are joined by China's second woman astronaut, Wang Yaping.
3、2、1，点火！
Shenzhou 10 lifted off on time at 5:38 p.m. Stages 1 and 2 of the upgraded Long March 2F carrier rocket separated successfully. The spacecraft shot through the atmosphere about 4 minutes later. Commander Nie Haishang is seated in the middle, with Zhang Xiaoguang to his left and Wang Yaping to the right. Shenzhou 10 will spend 15 days in space. It will dock twice with the orbiting Space Lab Tiangong 1, once through automatic operation and the other manually. For the first time, the astronauts on board will lecture school children in China via a live video link. The spokeswoman for China's space program said the aim of the mission is to further test docking technologies and support for astronauts to stay in space, as well as new techniques in building a space station. In Yantai, the hometown of the woman astronaut Wang Yaping, students at the school she used to go to watched with bated breath in their moment of glory. Drawing inspiration from their now famous alumnus, teenagers here hope some among them will one day be part of the space program. Shenzhou-10 is China's fifth manned space mission. The program began in 1999, first with unmanned spacecraft and then the first manned mission carrying Yang Liwei on board Shenzhou-5 in 2003. The target is to establish China's own space station in 2020. Jenny Lam, TVB News.
Whistleblower Edward Snowden, who leaked details of top-secret U.S. surveillance programs, has dropped out of sight in Hong Kong. The Obama administration has launched an internal review to assess damage to national security as a result. And the contracting firm Snowden worked for has fired him for violating its ethics and policies. Here's Sonia Artero.
A Guardian newspaper reporter now in Hong Kong remains one of a handful of people in contact with Edward Snowden. He says fleeing to Hong Kong as a safe haven, especially after being responsible for the biggest national security agency leak in U.S. history, leaves Snowden little options.
He wasn't sure how it was going to work out, how the Americans would react. They could have taken all sorts of actions against them. Now it looks like the only one available to them is an extradition request.
Some are concerned that if pressured enough, Snowden could turn over all that sensitive information to China.
Maybe Beijing would send some agents to whisk him away. He's quite a useful asset.
But this U.S. security expert believes China wants nothing to do with Snowden.
I don't think the Chinese want to get involved in this at all. They think this is an in-house problem for the Americans.
Other than to say an investigation is underway, the White House would not discuss Snowden's security breach. Over in Britain, Julian Assange lauded Snowden.
Edward Snowden is a hero who has informed the public about one of the most serious events of the decade, which is the creeping formulation of a mass surveillance state that has now corrupted the courts in the United States.
Snowden was equally lauded in New York, where a few dozen people rallied to support his whistleblowing exploits. If Snowden turns himself over to Hong Kong authorities for extradition, he could escape a long prison sentence, depending upon his cooperation with U.S. authorities. As it stands, each count of violating the U.S. Espionage Act carries a sentence of 10 years in prison. Sonia Artero, TVB News.
Another deadly attack rocked the Afghan capital today. A suicide car bomber struck outside the Supreme Court in Kabul, killing at least 17 people and wounding 39. Police say buses carrying court employees were targeted. The courthouse is not far from the U.S. Embassy. Just yesterday, Taliban militants launched an attack on Kabul's main airport. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has promised 100 million euros in aid for flood-stricken areas of the country, but she admitted the damage caused will probably run into the billions. Alan Buknia reports.
Aerial shots taken from a German army helicopter show the extent of flooding caused by the swollen Elbe River. The footage shows where a dam collapsed, causing the evacuation of tens of thousands of people. The riverbanks could no longer be seen, and trees, bridges, and houses were partly submerged. German Chancellor Angela Merkel visited the flood-stricken area on Monday. In addition to 100 billion euros of what she called unbureaucratic emergency aid, she said she'll be meeting with state leaders on Thursday to discuss what more can be done and how quickly. Meanwhile, in Hungary, the country worst hit by the flooding, in the suburbs around Budapest, the water in the River Danube is slowly receding. This man, whose house is submerged, says he's trying to maintain a positive attitude.
The only thing that I can see and say is we're going to be like ants, you know. We're going to rebuild our little colony. We're going to